You and your partner are arguing about discipline again. You think timeouts work. They think consequences should be natural. You want to set a firm bedtime. They think the kids should go to bed when they're tired. Sound familiar? If you're watching this video, chances are you and your partner have different parenting styles, and it's causing tension in the household, confusion for your kids, and maybe even full-blown arguments. I'm Dr. Lindsay, a clinical psychologist specializing in parenting and child development, and today we're going to talk about how to navigate parenting differences with your partner, including some research that might surprise you and actually take some pressure off. Let's dive in. First, let's understand why this happens in the first place. The truth is, parenting differences are completely normal and in many ways inevitable. Here's why. Different upbringings. You were raised in different families with different rules, different values, and different approaches to discipline. What felt normal and right in your childhood home might feel completely wrong to your partner, and vice versa. Different personalities. Maybe you're more laid back and your partner is more structured. Maybe you're risk averse and your partner is more adventurous. These personality differences naturally show up in how you parent. Different stress levels. Sometimes disagreements aren't really about parenting philosophy at all. They're about who's more tired, who's had a harder day, or who's carrying more of the mental load. Different information. Maybe you read a parenting book that changed your perspective, or maybe your partner follows an expert on social media who recommends something completely different. We're all consuming different information and forming different opinions. And here's what's important to understand. Having different parenting styles isn't the problem. The problem is when we don't know how to navigate those differences productively. So let's talk about how to do that. Before we get into the practical strategies, I want to share some research that might actually relieve some pressure. There's a common belief that both parents need to be on the exact same page for children to thrive, and that if you're not perfectly aligned, then you're somehow failing your kids. But here's what the research actually shows. Studies on parenting styles, particularly the work by developmental psychologist Diana Baumrind and subsequent researchers, have found something fascinating. Having even just one authoritative parent is associated with positive developmental outcomes for children. So what does this mean? An authoritative parent is someone who combines warmth and responsiveness with clear boundaries and expectations. They're not permissive and they're not authoritarian. They're right in that sweet spot of being both loving and firm. And the research shows that when at least one parent in the household demonstrates this authoritative style, children tend to show better emotion regulation, higher self-esteem, better academic performance, and stronger social skills, even if the other parent has a different approach. They are in essence buffered from the negative impact of permissive or authoritarian parenting style. Now, this doesn't mean it's ideal for parents to be completely at odds. Consistency does matter. What the research tells us is that you don't have to achieve perfect unity for your child to turn out well. If you're more structured, boundary setting in your parenting, then your partner is more lenient, or vice versa. Your kids can still thrive as long as at least one of you is providing that authoritative foundation. This should be incredibly reassuring. It means that you can stop panicking every time that your partner and you aren't perfectly aligned. It means that you don't have to have identical parenting philosophies, but it doesn't mean that we ignore the differences entirely. Let's talk about how to navigate them productively. Now, here's what actually causes problems in co-parenting relationships. Not the differences themselves, but undermining each other in front of the kids. When one parent sets a boundary and the other immediately overturns it in front of the child, that's going to cause confusion and manipulation to happen. For example, mom says no more screen time. Dad walks in and says, oh, just let them have 20 more minutes. The child learns that boundaries are negotiable and that they can play parents against each other. Second, criticizing your partner's parenting approach in front of the children. When you say things like, your dad is too strict, or your mom lets you get away with everything, you're teaching that child to disrespect that parent's authority. Third, fighting about parenting in front of the kids. It's good for children to witness calm discussions focused on problem solving and conflict resolution, but it's not good for kids to witness every disagreement. When they do, it creates stress, anxiety, and insecurity. Fourth, keeping disagreements unresolved indefinitely. Some couples just avoid the conversation entirely, letting resentment build while parenting inconsistently. So if these are the problems, what are the solutions? We'll cover them next. But first, I want to let you know that navigating these parenting differences, if that has you feeling overwhelmed or second guessing your decisions, you're not alone. And that's exactly why I'm hosting a live workshop on Thursday, November 20th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, where I'll be walking you through my parent coaching program and the psychology-backed strategies that help you parent with calm confidence, even in those tough moments when you and your partner don't see eye to eye. Partners are always welcome to join together, and everyone who attends the live workshop will get a special downloadable bonus resource. Just head to drlindsayemmerson.com/calm to save your spot. Okay, so now on to how to navigate parenting differences. Strategy number 1, have regular parenting meetings away from the kids. Set aside time, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, to discuss parenting issues when you're both calm and the kids aren't around. This isn't about fighting, it's about problem solving together. Discuss things like, well, what's working now? What challenges are we facing? Are there any situations where we need to get on the same page? What boundaries or expectations need to be clear? Strategy number 2, agree on your non-negotiables together. You don't have to agree on everything, but you should agree on the big things. So sit down together and identify your family's non-negotiables. These might be things like safety rules, like car seats, helmets, supervision, respect, things like how family members talk to each other, screen time limits, bedtime boundaries, how we handle aggression. When you've identified these core values and boundaries together, you create a foundation that both parents can enforce, even if your styles differ in other areas. Strategy number 3, use the support in the moment, discuss in private rule. So here's the golden rule for handling real-time disagreements. When your partner makes a parenting decision in the moment, support it. Even if it wouldn't have been your first choice for how to handle the situation, then discuss it privately later to help you plan ahead for the next time something like that comes up. So, for example, your partner tells your child that they didn't eat their dinner and so they can't have dessert. And you think that's too rigid. So in the moment, you say something like, "Dad's right, dinner first, and then we can talk about dessert." Later in private, you discuss, and you might say something like, "I noticed that you said no dessert tonight. Can we talk about the approach to food rules? I'm wondering if maybe we want to be a little more flexible on that." And this protects your unified front while still allowing for discussion and adjustment. Now, of course, if their in-the-moment decision goes against your previously agreed upon non-negotiables, then it would be best to calmly and supportively point out that it might be worth just taking a pause and thinking about that statement before proceeding. Strategy number 4, identify your complementary strengths. So instead of seeing your differences as problems, recognize how they might actually be beneficial for your children. Maybe you're the fun, spontaneous parent who teaches your kids to be flexible and adventurous, and your partner is the structured, consistent parent who teaches them responsibility and follow through. Both are valuable. Your kids get to experience different approaches and learn from both. Strategy number 5, let the parent who cares more take the lead. This is a game changer for a lot of couples. If one of you feels strongly about an issue and the other is more neutral, then let the one who cares more take the lead on that particular issue. So for example, maybe you have strong feelings about limiting sugar and your partner doesn't really care either way. Then you get to set the sugar rules and your partner agrees to support them. Meanwhile, your partner may have strong feelings about kids doing their homework before screen time and you're more neutral. Then your partner takes the lead on homework policies. This reduces conflict by allowing each person to have authority over the issues that they care about most. Strategy number 6, remember you're on the same team. When tensions rise, it's easy to start seeing your partner as the opponent, but the truth is you both want what's best for your children. You just have different ideas about how to get there. So remind yourself regularly, this person loves our children. They're trying their best. We're on the same team. That perspective shift can transform how you approach disagreements. Strategy 7, be willing to compromise and experiment. Sometimes the best approach is to try it both ways and see what works. So you might say, okay, let's try your approach for bedtime for 2 weeks and see how it goes. If the kids are struggling, then we'll try mine for 2 weeks, and then we'll evaluate together which worked better. This takes the pressure off being right and turns parenting into collaborative problem solving. Strategy 8, seek outside help when needed. If you're constantly fighting about parenting, if one of you feels dismissed or disrespected, if your differences are creating serious conflict, it might be time to bring in a family therapist or parenting coach. There's no shame in getting help. In fact, it's one of the most responsible things that you can do for your family. Now, I want to touch on a different scenario that some of you might be facing. What if the problem isn't that you disagree, but that your partner is barely engaged in parenting at all? Maybe they're physically present, but emotionally absent. Maybe they default all the decisions to you. Maybe they are more like the fun uncle than a co-parent. And this is actually sometimes harder than having different parenting styles, because at least when you disagree, you're both engaged. And here's what I want you to hear. Remember that research that I mentioned earlier? Even one authoritative parent is associated with positive outcomes for children. So if you're engaged in your parenting and your partner is checked out, your children can still thrive because of your investment in them. That said, it's completely valid to want more partnership. So here are some suggestions. Have an honest conversation about expectations. Sometimes disengagement can happen because roles have never been clearly discussed. So have a direct conversation. I need more partnership in parenting. Here's what that would look like for me. Another idea, give specific tasks rather than expecting them to figure it out. Instead of, our family needs you to be more involved, try, can you be in charge of bedtime routine 3 nights a week? Specific requests are easier to act on. Next, recognize that engagement might look different. Maybe your partner connects with the kids through play rather than caretaking. Maybe they're better at homework help and they're not as good at emotional conversations. Differences doesn't mean wrong. Next, consider whether there are barriers to engagement. Depression, anxiety, work stress, their own childhood wounds, outdated beliefs about gender roles. Sometimes disengagement is a symptom of something deeper that needs professional support. And here's the final thing I want you to remember. Your children don't need perfect parenting. They need good enough parenting from adults who love them, who are doing their best, and who are always willing to help them learn and grow. If you're watching this video, then you're already making a commitment to doing that. You're invested enough to seek information and to improve. That matters more than having identical parenting philosophies with your partner. I hope these strategies help you feel more confident navigating parenting differences with your partner. And if you want to learn more psychology-backed tools to handle all the challenging moments in parenting, not just the co-parenting conflicts, join me for my live workshop on Thursday, November 20th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be sharing how my parent coaching program can help you stop second-guessing yourself and start parenting with the calm confidence you've been looking for. I'll be sharing 5 strategies straight out of my private parent coaching program. Partners are welcome to join together, and live attendees will get an exclusive bonus resource. So register now at drlindsayemmerson.com/calm, and I'll see you there. And if you're catching this video after that date, don't worry, I'll link to the recording right here.